The doctor is in.
I've never done a VOD review like this before on stream, so I'm gonna see how it goes. I apologize if it's awful. I hope you guys take something away from it. Basically, the essence of it is I'm just trying to personally evaluate the play and think about what do I care about for these teams, right? So it's not going to be as high quality as like a Vedi one because he's been doing this a lot longer, but I thought if I'm doing them and it's work for the week anyway, I might as well show you guys. Hope that's okay. This is the Screaming one. I have my drawing tool. Whoa, look at this. And unlike Vedi, I already know the hotkeys. What a beast. So we're just going to go through and talk over the basics. Can I get this to full screen in front? Yes. Nope. Okay, apparently I can't get it to come in front of this, which sucks. You guys will just see my taskbar. I need to move webcam, don't I? Because otherwise I'm going to cover stuff. Webcam. Okay. So, what do we care about in draft? Origin. Like to put priority on Alfari, getting him something he can carry on. This side have been playing around Kobe getting a strong AD. And I can't remember the draft from this side. I might guess stuff. Kobe wants a strong AD. Dan tends to play Ayaya Trox. Razork likes early junglers. And Forbidden can play anything pretty much. Okay, so Forbidden will probably be used as counter pick here. My expectation is this pick here will be used for Aphelios / AD. This pick here will be used for any powerful picks that are left open. Oh, if you put a full stop after something, it sometimes comes up as a link. So this would be if Syndra, Varus are open, this will be the first pick. Otherwise, they might try and get upset of Aphelios. Okay, so let's see what they do. This would be Yuumi. Expectation is Varus ban here. Varus Syndra like must ban red side. Oh, how do I get this in front of the thing? It's actually really telling me that this bar is here. Oh yeah. Okay, so Blitzcrank ban is an interesting one. Trying to think what this signifies. So it could signify that Origin want to go Lulu, which I think Destiny does this game. I'm not 100% sure. It could signify they want to go Karma. Basically, to me, a Blitzcrank ban means we want something... We want to play an Enchanter in lane and we don't want to get hooked. And I'm not sure how strong DOS is on Blitz. But you also can't give him Thresh. If you're going to ban Blitzcrank, you have to hope that these guys ban Thresh, because otherwise you have to pick Thresh, and Destiny is a Nautilus OTP. But, I mean, obviously he can play other things, but he usually goes... Oh, I haven't moved the box, sorry. He usually goes Nautilus, right? Sorry. There we are. So we'll see what... This Blitzcrank ban is a little bit surprising to me. This will be Syndra. So then what do you ban here? You could take away Azir from Febiven. You could take away Thresh. You could take away... you probably don't want to take away Nautilus. If you're so into playing Lulu Karma, okay, they get rid of Kalista. I guess that makes sense, because if you want to trade Aphelios for Ezreal, that's what you would do. And Kobe is a good Kalista play. So, okay, so this Aphelios ban puts me... I start thinking, okay, well, what do I want to first pick, right? First pick, if you want the strongest AD carry, you go Ezreal. And Upset is a good Ezreal player. You could go... You don't want to go Lulu first. You could go jungle. There's nothing really powerful jungle. You could go flex. So you could get Set is flexible. Karma is flexible. Maybe you go for one of these so that you don't give the game away. But the problem is if you don't pick Ez here, they pick Ez here, right? And then you're left with MF. Xayah got buffed on 10, 12, so you wouldn't want to pick Xayah. Yeah, I think you just have to pick Ez. I think you have to pick Ez, otherwise I don't think it, I don't think you have the power to win out. Yeah, so you pick Ezreal. Misfits then can look... Okay, so Kai'Sa is a really strong match into the Ezreal, guys. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes, by the way. So why is Kai'Sa a good match, right? Because think about what Ezreal does. Hey, thanks so much for the sub. Gaz, welcome back to the Scrub Life. You know, we can actually put music in the background of this. Let's just do that. No?
Happy fucking birthday.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, thank you as well, Alphness, for the sub. That's so kind of you with your Twitch Prime. So why is Kai'Sa a good pick, right? Because what Kai'Sa does is closes the gap. So the main thing, and Vedi says this a lot, and like a lot of analysts say this, the main problem with playing into Ezreal is kill pressure, right? So how do you kill an Ezreal? Well, you have hard engage, so things like an Ornn, things like a Thresh, right? However you spell Thresh, we are. Can kill an Ezreal because you get onto him, right? Or Rakan. Rakan is a good example as well. But what the problem is, a lot of those are long range, right? Long range. So the Ezreal is like over here, you're over here as the AD carry, and then your Ornn ults, and you're like, how do I close this huge fucking gap, right? What do? Right, you pick Kai'Sa, and you jump it, right? So that's why Kai'Sa is actually really strong into Ezreal, because you can actually isolate the backline, or at least get onto the backline. Most other AD carries, think about every other AD carry, right? You take MF, you take Varus isn't good. So say you took MF into this, you can lock up the Ezreal, right, with your initial CC, but then as soon as you use bullet time, as soon as you use your R, the Ezreal just jumps away. And you can never actually close onto him. Hey Dash, thanks so much for the sub as well, man. Welcome back to the Scrub Life. So I think Kai'Sa's a really strong pick into Ezreal because of this diagram that I've drawn here.
Happy birthday. Looking forward to more Pi KRAMs.
Oh, my pipe was awful.
XDDD.
Yeah, big XD. This is an awful diagram, but I hope it makes sense. And guys, like, if I'm saying stuff that sounds stupid, tell me. And if I'm not explaining it in an accurate way, tell me as well. Because I'd much prefer to be told that I'm doing something wrong when I'm doing this, because I haven't done it much. Oh, birthday hype train, that's cool. Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for the sub as well. Okay, so this Lee Sin pick, I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much. I'm not sold on Lee, although it's Razork's. I think it's his number one. The issue with Lee Sin, I find, is Ezreal can jump away, right? So he can E away. So you have to do Insect or with Flash Insect to get it, right? You have scaling junglers picked into it. So you could go Trundle. You could go Graves if you wanted. Trundle gives you a little bit more power. So like if you're going to pick Ornn here, Trundle is stronger because it's good into tanks. You could go Rek'Sai, which is really good into Lee Sin as well. And that all stops the ability for Lee to get onto the backline, right? And even early on, what we'll have to see is, throughout this draft, what lanes can Lee play around? Because at the moment, I don't think he can play around bot that safely until level 6, right? Because then the Kai'Sa can follow up. Mid lane is always a struggle in the current meta to play around because they're too safe usually. Like you're getting like Aziz and stuff, right? So I really like the Thresh pick. I think Thresh just a really powerful support right now. Nautilus is a good pick along... Okay, so let's have a look at how this bot lane will play out, right? Just generally. As Thresh, right? And I think I'm going to analyze them most in the draft, because this is where I actually know some stuff. So Ez is safe. Oh, ignore that. Ez is safe. Right? Thresh is safe. Does this safety thing as well with the lantern, right? Because you can always just W back. They can also gain push. Oh, my webcam's there. Fuck. Okay, this bit just says Ez. Okay, they can also gain push if they want, assuming Ezreal hits mystic shots, right? The issue with push is always going to be a cat. So Kai'Sa Nort here actually should have push most of the time because they have Kai'Sa Q and they have Nautilus E. So you can Riptide, Acathian Rain the lane and push it out, right? This is a super safe bot lane, this is one that wants to make fights happen, but it's going to be really difficult to make a fight happen in this spot. So actually, this is a lane that the Lee Sin can play around, but it's going to be difficult because all these guys can do is they can just let the lane push into them underneath the tower and then farm under tower pretty safely, right? And if they ever get dived, Thresh just stands back here. So I'll redraw this. So if you have Ezreal tower here, they're standing here. Say they try and dive them, right, with a big fatty minion wave. Thresh stands here. There's a lantern. Ezreal jumps onto the lantern, gets out. So you have to give out. You can give up some CS, and this lane can be lane dominant. But unless they're able to regularly catch out these two, it's going to be really difficult. Nautilus hook is better than Thresh hook because it has a shorter wind up. So what I expect the Thresh to do in this lane, Destiny, is to only ever stand relatively defensively. If Nautilus Q is down, Thresh can step up, right? But if Nautilus... That looks very... Oops, let's get rid of that. There we go. Looks less... but if Nautilus Q is ever used, Thresh can then step up and flay damage and use auto attacks on the Kai'Sa, right? So my expectation is that this the Origin bot lane will play super safe. Lee Sin will never be able to find a gank down there because they can just step back, but we'll see. Second phase, I'm going to expect Ornn bans. So they're getting rid of save mid laners. The question is, do you ban Orianna and Azir here for Misfits? Get rid of Nuke Duck's like some powerful, strong picks, but then Corki's still available, and Nuke Duck played Corki against G2, I think. LeBlanc ban against Forbidden makes sense as well. So this ban, you either look at top lane, you get rid of something like the Ornn, or you say, well, Alfari isn't... Okay, there's the Corki from Nuke Duck. You say Alfari isn't likely to play Ornn, he'll probably play something more carry orientated. Maybe Wukong, maybe Camille is something I've been seeing around a little bit. So maybe Camille. There's the Gangplank ban from Origin themselves. Why would you ban Gangplank here? Let's have a look, okay? So this ban here, you don't have first pick. So the worry is that they pick it here, right? The worry is that they pick GP here. But if they pick GP there, you can just go Ornn, right? And you have a really powerful pick. However, okay. It mitigates if they pick GP, it mitigates the power of Trundle, right? Because if Trundle is into a non-tank, he's just not as powerful. Because he doesn't have power from Subjugate, right? So what you're hoping for is you can currently Subjugate the Nautilus, but also you're looking for a secondary Subjugate target in the tank top laner. Alfari can win any matchup really into a non-GP pick here, because Ornn will like still beat the GP technically, although early on you can probably win it. So they're looking to put Dan down on something less comfortable. I think he might pick Vlad here. Is it that pick? But that's just me trying to remember more than anything else. What are you gonna pick? Okay, so yeah, they save top lane counter pick for last, which I kind of understand because the traditional mid lane counter that Forbidden will want to play to try and win has been banned out. The issue is, I don't, and this might just be me not having that much faith in Dan, right? But I don't have enough faith in this guy to beat this guy with a counter pick, right? I think Alfari's going to be able to play the lane pretty well no matter what, so I would prefer to give Febiven the counter and try and beat out Nuke Duck in the lane. Because I think Nuke Duck has had a relatively poor spring split and doesn't look incredible in summer either. So that's where I would be looking for my counter pick. I can understand the Azir pick, because then what's next on the menu? You can't pick Orianna, you can't pick Corki. Nuke Duck could fall back to... I mean, you could play Ornn mid, but you kind of get boned. Kind of get screwed. Apparently that's Ornn, by the way. What else is it? Nuke Duck has... I mean, he's got a huge champion pool. Just trying to think of what other mid laners would be strong here. You're never going to kill that guy, right? So this guy is going to be looking up towards top lane, probably for ganks. This guy is going to be looking to top lane as well, or trying to hard force spot. But we already talked about how hard this lane here is to gank the Thresh Ezreal. What do you take? Nuke Duck has a huge ocean. That's true, but I just like You can have a big champion pool and it still not be good, right? Okay, I mean, Echo makes some sense. Okay, so why would you do this? Well, Dan plays Aatrox. Ayaya. Renekton is greater than Ayaya early on. Gives you kill threat with these two, right? Because you get stun into pillar. This is League of Legends music. So I like the pick as something that can be played through early because I don't think you're going to play through this early, right? And it also implies to me that Nuke Duck is going to be on something safer mid lane. But I'm still not sure what you pick. Because if you went on here, you can win the laning phase, but it's a little bit tough. So it's going to be the Echo. Echo into Azir. I feel like that's a matchup I've seen a lot, and I can't remember which side it is, because I feel like the Azir should just be able to harass out the Echo, but then the Echo has to jump back and can close the gap pretty quickly before you get Shurima Shuffle. So there's the AI Aatrox. So this is what we thought about with Dan likely to pick Aatrox. So what have we got compositionally? We have safe bot lane, right? We have strong 2v2 early, so this is where I expect Xerxes to want to play. I can tell you what it is. It is called Howling Abyss early game music. We have split push question. Also works okay in team fights. Did they have strong engage? They got mediocre engage, like you've got some from the Thresh, but you have a lot of disengage. And you have the Renekton who can jump in. So I like this comp, but I think they might struggle to up the tempo of fights. Because I think they're gonna... Their forms of engage aren't as reliable as other forms of engage. Hey Ryan, thanks so much for the sub, man.
You have arrived at many
That's really kind of you. Welcome to Scott Life and subscribers.
Happy day of the time you were thrown out to this cold and cruel world.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm thinking split with this, but Renekton split push later on isn't great. So you have a little bit of 1-4, I would say, instead of 1-3-1. Because I don't think the Renekton is incredibly safe by himself, but you could 1-3-1 with the Origin comp. What do we have here? Okay, so we've got powerful bot lane, strong in the 2v2, but they're never going to be able to get onto Ezreal Thresh, right? You have powerful team fight, so you've got some strong team fight threat. This 2v2 is fine. This 2v2 is fine. Engage potential comes from the Lee and the Nautilus in later game. And this, like, you can front to back with this. You know, you can do front to back. Front to back. The issue I find with them is I don't think their 1-4 is as strong as Origins, because I think Echo will beat Aatrox in a side lane, right? And I don't think they're... They have the hard engage to counteract the disengage from these guys, especially when Ezreal gets Death's Dance. I think it's going to be a lot stronger for like he's going to be able to disengage really easily, and even if these guys try and hard engage with say a Lee QWR or with a Nautilus R or Nautilus Q, the Ezreal Thresh should be able to always disengage. So I think this 1-4 / possible 1-3-1. I'm never sold on Renekton in the side lane. You could put Trundle in the side lane, I guess. I think this comp, if it gets online, is stronger than this comp. The only worry this comp has is if Ezreal Thresh get put behind early on, or if this 2v2 doesn't win out top side of the map. Thoughts, chat? Anyone got any insight? I think overall that makes sense. I think. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's why I think this is 1-4. Because I think you Echo split push. You don't like the mid lane matchup? Yeah, I think Azir greater than Echo early on. I think the Echo will look to just push the wave and then get out. I agree with that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like, as I said, guys, I have some knowledge of League of Legends, but my knowledge is not comprehensive. And a lot of this is just going to be like seeing trends and looking for things that I don't usually notice. Sheer for who? You don't like the mid lane matchup for OG? Why not? Oh, yeah, no, I agree. So wait, maybe I don't know the Echo Azir matchup that well. So the mid 2v2 for OG is okay. It's not great because Lee, especially pre-6, Lee Azir I think beats Echo Trundle because Echo doesn't have escapes and he's too short range. But you can lock someone up pretty effectively with the Trundle. I think the Azir should harass should be greater than Echo in lane, especially pre-6. And I expect Nuke Duck will take Potion, Corrupting Potion. This is how you spell that. To try and mitigate that, right? Azir can go Ring. And after Ring, he can get Stinger. And then he can like heavy harass the Echo. I think as Echo has some push if he uses his Q. I can't remember what Echo's Q is called effectively. But I think Azir should still have push in the lane early on. Have I watched Misfits OG? I watched it when it happened, but I didn't watch it with an eye to analyze it. Like, this is me very much on the fly analyzing. Let's move these down. So this is like what we, this is what Vedius and such would try and do during the game. Alright, so standard setups. Trundle, you gonna start top side? Nah, you gotta start bot side, mate. Starting top side. Okay, so this is interesting. By starting up here, you imply that you're gonna come down bot lane for a gank, right? And I think, as I said early on, Misfits should have push, right? Because of Kai'Sa Q and because of Nautilus E, which you shouldn't really be using the push away. They should have push, right? With this take, I'd be thinking about 430 or maybe even 345 and seeing if the wave is stacking up this way, because Lee can start topside by himself. Lee's really self-sufficient in the jungle. Trundle can start topside by himself as well, and it actually means they're both going to meet down here early on, because I was thinking maybe Xerxes would look towards top lane gank early on, but instead he's going to go down towards bot and try and counter gank this Lee Sin, who is trying to get his Kai'Sa Nautilus ahead. Which is interesting to me. He could wait. You think Trundle could be playing for bot scuttle? See, I'm debating whether Ezreal or Thresh get bot push, because I think Kai'Sa with a Cathian range should be able to out push him. But we'll see. I have said many times Vedius already. I'm very likely to be wrong at times in this cast, and we'll see, or in this review. The question is whether Ezreal or Thresh get to the lane beforehand. Now, they're both going to come at the same time. Neither of them are faking, so everyone knows the junglers are topside here. What has Dan done here? So this is interesting. Dan decided to help with the leash. It keeps Razork a little bit healthier in the lane, but it does mean that Alfari gets a lot of free time this wave. It doesn't look like he pulls the wave, but he did get a lot of free time just up there. And you can actually see Xerxes immediately goes for a mid gank.
You have arrived at
oh, thanks, Lisa, for the gifted sub to Vedius. Vedius, welcome to the scrub life, mate. So this gank is interesting. He's taken sweeper, so he's not going to be spotted out on a ward. They know Lee started topside. Lee's still super healthy, so if Lee had come mid, this would be an interesting one. Because I think Lee Azir beat Trundle Echo, especially when everyone's level 1. And if you look at where the wave state is, but it actually looks like Ezreal Thresh are getting the push. So I wonder if this gank has been dictated by the fact they think Forbidden is going to push through the lane to try and harass. Because you know that early doors, the Azir should be able to get harassed onto the Echo because he's got the ranged auto attacks, right? So maybe Xerxes is anticipating, hey, I think Febi's going to push on you and try and get harass. Nuke Duck's taken a little bit of a chunk, right? Not a huge amount, but he spent some mana. So they're expecting Febiven to be over the line of scrimmage, or, I mean, this is technically a line of scrimmage, but over the line of defense here. So then Trundle can come around and get the gank off. Can't remember if he gets a kill or anything here though. Control shift 2. There we are. So Featherman's in a pretty safe spot. This is free harass though, and it makes the lane a lot harder for Nuke Dog. It also means that it's very obvious where Xerxes is. I really want to see bot lane go bot. Afari has a wave stacking up top. So how long until this crashes? Say 30, 40 seconds. You could do this path if you wanted. Get back up here, look for the dive on Dan level 2. Might be too far away. He's still doing red, I think, right now, so this would be a quite hard like rotation for him, but Afari wins out lanes most of the time anyway. This is his path. Go Gromp down into bot lane. You have superb setup for a gank. The only question is, can you get the Ezreal out of position or the Thresh out of position to make it work? So we'll see. Yeah, okay, so Xerxes never going to get here in time. I misread the wave. I thought it was going to stack up another wave and then he'd come across, but literally under tower. So Xerxes can never get there. Oh, okay, I really like this from Destiny. I don't know how, I'll be honest, Upset Destiny got the push in the bot lane. Usually the way that a lane like this happens is, what will happen is Ez will stand in front of the wave, right, level 1, and he'll throw out his Qs, right? The enemy team will dodge them, or get hit by them, right? Doesn't really matter. And then they'll try and trade back. And while they're trading back, the Ezreal will kill minions. Right? And if you won't have taken land to level 1. But the idea is you trade either a little bit of health, or you trade it, get the enemy to push up too far and try and trade with you, and then you push the wave in. But I really think that Cobby with Q should have been able to get control over this lane. I don't know why they didn't, I'll be honest. But what we're going to see here is a really nice play from Destiny, right? So he's going to walk up. He's going to walk up through here after they get the push and get the lane in. Ezreal stays safe, like, because Ezreal can stay safe, and he walks up and gets this ward off in here. Now, it's a good time, it's a well-timed ward because they know that Blue and Gromp is down. I would have liked it to be just a tiny bit earlier, but he can't safely get it earlier without missing too much XP bot lane. So this ward means they know Gromp and Blue are down, so they know that Lee Sin probably isn't on this side of the map, because if he was, he would have gone for Destiny while that was happening. So Lee now passed towards top side. Xerxes doesn't have to do anything, and his lane is winning the 2v2 when I really don't think they should be winning the 2v2. Alright, so Destiny's actually taking a lot of health trade for it. It looks like they were trying to kill Cobby and just trade aggressively onto him. Alright, so what are next steps? Oh, wow, okay. I need to stop pausing the game so much because we're 3 minutes in. Dear me, I'm being too... I'm trying to microanalyze everything. Okay, so this wave is pushing in this way. Topside Scuttle is going to get claimed by Razork, and then he can look for a top dive. Now, Renekton is not easy to dive, because if he gets his Ruthless Predator Fury stacked up, he can be pretty difficult to kill. However, Lee and Aatrox are really good at getting out of tower range when they need to. So, with Safeguard, so Lee W, with Lee Q, you can jump in and out of tower range pretty easy, and then you have Umbral Dash, which is AI Aatrox. His E means that you can actually execute a tower dive pretty well. You can see Xerxes knows this. He's just done Krogs. He's actually left his Razor Beaks up, and now he's coming to top side to try and stop this gank from happening. Now this is going to be actually a 430 wave. Next wave is 20 seconds away, 25 seconds away. So my expectation is that Xerxes will stop them from being able to do this because he's already pathing up here. And you can see he actually gets seen on the Scuttle Crab and immediately like, no, we can't do this. Have to back away. And now they know Xerxes on top side of the map. So this actually opens up bot lane to be a bit more aggressive. Upset and Destiny are doing a really stellar job. It might be that Cobby doesn't have the mana to continually spam. Maybe that's why early on he's struggling. Why'd you TP here, Febby? What's the play? So Febby decides to back and TP. Wave is pushed in, right? He's gonna lose, say, half a wave. If he walk, maybe a whole wave if he walks back, because he's only got level 1 boots. But oh, it's cannon wave. Okay, so he decides to burn his TP for cannon wave because they're not looking to dive anywhere soon. The only possibility was that top lane dive a little bit earlier on, but he decides against it because, of course, we saw Xerxes was seen on this ward. pickaxe first instead of Tyr. Gives you more damage in the lane. Same with Sheen, right? You can go pickaxe, Tyr, or Sheen as Ezreal. It gives you more damage in the lane and gets you up towards that Q evolution. Okay, let's see how this is set up. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, my mans? Okay, so Razork passed towards bot side. Dragon is up soon. They know that he's cleared his top side camps, right? Because they saw him go up through here. Remember that? So they saw him go up through here. They know he's either cleared his Krugs or left them alone, and then he's backed and come over here, right? They know he's not on his Razor Beaks because they have a ward here. So what this sets up is for playing in like 30 seconds for them to come through here. I'm trying to work out how they get push in mid. So Destiny and Xerxes team up. This is how they get pushed in mid. Okay. So because Destiny and Xerxes are seen on this ward, Febiven has to back away just a little bit. You see, he's trying to harass Nuke, being like, hey, don't die me, don't die me, don't die me, don't kill me, right? But then he's not getting the lane. What is this smithing music? This is 2017 mid-season invitational. Is it too loud? Is that okay? Okay, so Xerxes and these guys path up here. So the push comes out because Destiny rotated across with Xerxes, right? They cleared out this ward. They were seen by Forbidden. Forbidden was like, okay, I have to give up ground, go backwards to make sure. And then that moves the lane back here, which means Xerxes and Nuke Duck can go up through here. Now, they don't know that there's no ward in Tribush. They also don't know that there's no ward here. They can assume there's no control ward in the red bush, but they don't know anything about Tribush, unless they've been timing the wards coming out from Dan. And they also knew that Razork didn't place a ward there, right? So this is a potential dive that they can enact. Because they know there's no TP on Febiven, because he used it to get back into mid lane, it's a relatively safe dive, right? If they go for this dive here. Because they know that Febiven can't react. Dan is the only player up there. He's only got TP, and they can assume that Razork is bot side of the map. So this is actually a pretty cool little play for Misfits. Just using the advantage they've developed on the map to be able to look for this. So actually, they even dodged this ward. Right? Which is quite nice of them. So they blast cone over here. They both get in here. Dan knows something's going on. You can see he's backed all the way off from the wave. He's like, I can't get near Alfari, who's also... Look at this. Look at how good this is. Imagine being like, hey guys, I'm going to gank top in a minute because they saw a minute ago Razork go this way, right? A minute ago. This is actually beautiful little stuff from Origin. So they saw him go this way. They're like, okay, how do we gank top? Well... Destiny, can you move towards mid? Relatively easy thing to make sure that Forbidden thinks he's not safe in the lane, right? We'll clear out a ward over here, and then we can step up over here, right? And how are we going to dodge this ward that could be here that we don't know about? That's only just been... Well, we actually do know about it because Dan's only just placed it. We blast cone across. And then Alfari, if in a minute, can you just have full Fury stacks for me, please? To make sure that this gank works. Beautiful. 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 Okay, so then we also look at what's going... Oh, we'll look at the dive first, and then we'll rewind and look at what's going on the other side of the map. So super easy dive. Parallel convergence over here to make sure that they can catch him out. There's the Ruthless Predator stun. Stuns him for a year. Dan's going to heal quite a bit. Nice little flash. Oh, we should just slow this down. What am I? Why? There we are. Alright, so here we are. Dan with a nice Q, right? He gets stunned. He then gets re-stunned. What's the first stun from? Or is that just the whole... Yeah, okay, that's just how far he's stunning him at the same time. They run in. Xerxes, I believe, is holding pillar this whole time. Alfari tanks Slice, but he still has dice, and he's got flash if he needs to get away, right? So now Dan, neither of these are tanking. Oh, no, who's tanking? Xerxes tanking? There we are. Damage took a second to hit. Dan actually does a really good job of outplaying as much as he can, but Xerxes too tanky, man. Flash is out of tower range. Nuke Duck should just get the last auto here. Easy enough. It was a little messy, but it was well planned. It was well planned, okay? So, what goes on next? What does this mean for the rest of the map? Well, if I'm Misfits, I'm saying, okay, let's gain control of Dragon, right? Because at this point, you know everyone's up here. You know it's 3 people. You know they don't have TP. Only Alfari has TP, but he's about to tank the tower, You know he's going to tank the tower because he's got to get this Ruthless Predator stun off. Right? So you're like, okay, what can we do? Well, Azir can push out mid. Bot lane can push out bot. And you can just go for the dragon. That's my expectation. That's what they should do. We'll get back to playing the video. Yep, Azir shoving mid. Lee Sin actually going to look for a little invade here. I think he should have just started up the dragon. Instead, he says, okay, we're going to go for a dive of our own. Does a good job of dodging around this vision here by jumping over here with the blast cone. My worry is, Upset has flash, Destiny has flash, Destiny has exhaust, Alphari's base and has teleport. This is a dangerous dive if you go for it, because as much as you're strong, you're not strong enough to get rid of this. Because all that happens, right? Destiny starts to back up over here. Razork jumps in. Okay, Destiny flashes right to here. Ezreal Arcane shifts onto the lantern, they're out. Maybe you get a plate. Maybe you get a plate. Could have just got a dragon for free. Or not for free. You could have just got a dragon. But we'll see. We'll see. The wave isn't even stacked properly yet. Like, it's building. Febin's going to come across as well. Okay, okay. So this is the hard invest, right? This is the hard invest. It's saying, okay, we're going to 5-man this. Because we know they only have 1 teleport. So at most, it's a 3v5 at worst, right? So they're saying, okay, we pick up 2 kills probably if we 5-man early on. Then we can put the pressure on. But what happens? What happens when you try and dive an Ezreal and a Thresh? It's impossible. It's actually incredibly difficult. This is why you don't do it, guys. You know how I said that bot lane is going to be super safe? You know how you remember that? You remember back to draft? Watch this. Watch this. Okay, so here we go. Oh, doesn't even flash. Puts the lantern down. Razork's like, oh, well, I can't do anything now. I'm screwed. Has to just run away. Has to just run away. Oh. So does Razork jump in too early? That's the next question we have to ask. Because what he's trying to do, pre-level 6 by the way, so it doesn't even have kick, is he's trying to stop them from retreating. He's trying to stop them from getting back here too early. And you can see he's thinking about it, but this TP comes in relatively late. Upset is here on the lantern. And now he just jumps away from these guys. Dan tries to hard invest onto Destiny, but Destiny still has flash. And so now Dan, all 5 of these guys are in an awful situation because you're cut between Alphari, Upset, and Destiny. And yes, you can get out. That's fine. But what have you lost? Well, top wave is now pushing against you. Nuke Duck has free time to get in here, and you don't get the dragon. You don't get the dragon. Greedy. Greedy, in my opinion, from Misfits. I think. All they got was Destiny Flash. All they got was Destiny Flash. Hey, DK
Picasso.
First, thanks so much for the sub. Oh yeah, look, that's pure style right there. Pure style right there. So what would I have done instead? I would have gone for this dragon. Right, you have push in bot lane, you've got a big wave going in. I mean, there's even an argument like you semi-threaten the dive. They did also get Alphari TP. I won't know that. That's true. So now these 2 TPs are lined up. I think there's an argument to threaten the dive, force these 2 off maybe 1 plate, and then come back up here. Febby starts the dragon, and then you just take the dragon, right? But they're going to start it anyway, and they might just be able to take it anyway. We'll see. Yeah, okay, he's going to get it anyway, so that wasn't me. So they got a vision line here, and they got a vision line here, and Nuke Duck didn't want to come down and check, and this bot lane is getting pushed in harder now because you already have this and this, so you can just Icathian Rain spam, Q spam for Kai'Sa. And I guess it's okay, right? In the end, they got what they wanted. Did they waste a little bit of time getting there? Did they burn their TP? Yes, but they also got this TP out and they got the flash from Destiny. So all in all, maybe that's a win. I don't think you want to try the dive after Drake. Maybe you could have, but I think that's dangerous. So actually, Razork even gets checked doing this. He's actually, like, he starts it at the right time, but he's quite fortunate he doesn't die. Because you see, they're coming across now, and they're like, oh, we should check this. Because they can't check it because bot's been forced up, and they're like, well, why isn't bot reset at any point? And he gets it, but just about gets away, right? Like, it was very, very close on the timing. Alphari gets a huge mini wave. Okay, so this top differential is massive now. Look at this. Dan's like, oh, I'll take the scuttle crab, guys. It's like, nah, mate. Nah, fam. You're doomed. Let's have a look. Alfari, level 8. Dan, level 6. Well, he's level 7. He's a level and a quarter ahead right now. Such a massive advantage for Alfari. And Alfari's playing incredibly well as well, but like that top lane dive just put Dan so far behind. So then what are you going to do to translate this pressure into pressure on the rest of the map? Well, he can shove it in and he can start getting deep wards if he wants. He can shove it in and he can just continue to harass Dan out, especially with the executions calling early, which I like. Or you can start to get objectives like this, right? So all they're doing is utilizing this pressure, utilizing the push he gets in top lane to then bring that across. They've also pushed out mid. However, Misfits are doing things. What are you doing here, Misfits? Now let's have a look at where we are in terms of vision. Okay, control ward here. No ward here, but they have the scuttle crab. So they don't actually know how low Rift Herald is. And Misfits have already decided to bring their bot lane up, right? I'm not sold on this, personally. What would I do? Because you push the wave into tower, right? You know there's no TP anywhere on the map, right? So you can invest and say, hey, let's get 3 tower plates. Because you can probably get 3 tower plates. And that gets a mana moon complete, right? Probably. Probably enough gold. Here, are you going to fight versus Alfari when you have Dan who's got nothing, and you've got Febivin who's being pushed in? The answer is no. So even at this point, I think you take your bot lane back down bot, and you say, okay, let's go for tower plates. The question is, are you willing to sack top tower for it? Because that's the likelihood. Origin have enough people on the top side. They've got Thresh here, and they've got Ezreal coming up. I'm going to get rid of some of this. They've got... Where is Ezreal? Is he underneath the Thresh? I think he's underneath the Thresh. They've got these guys coming up that they can hard force for this top tower, right? But this top tower is still at 5 plates, right? And we all know Rift Herald does 2.5 plates worth of damage. And then it gets a bulwark. Oh, tanky boy. So you'd have to invest quite a lot of time to get this. And meanwhile, the Kai'Sa can get as many places as you want spot. So if I'm Misfits here, I'm saying, hey, Kai'Sa, come back bot. Come back bot. You can't fight this. This is gone. Look at it. It's done. It's done zone. Now what do you have? Well, you got pressure in mid. Who cares? Cobby's going to have to back. So he must actually be sitting on quite a lot of gold anyway. But he doesn't back. Instead, he goes top lane. So now, look at this. Because they took their time and decided we want to walk our way up river, we don't want to take plate spot tower, Ezreal has managed to get a base, right? Pick himself up a tier. They've got the Rift Herald, which Misfits were trying to challenge anyway, right? And you're now going to come up to top lane at 9 disadvantage, even though you have a CS lead. Even though you have a CS lead. Because you decided not to base. And you were like, oh no, we're going to fight this. It's like, no, you were never going to fight this. This was a dumb fight to take. Just give up that Rift Herald, sacrifice it, take plate spot, and then recall, get yourself a tier, get yourself a mana moon, and come back into the lane. This is greed. Greed. Now this is a dumb play. Okay? I've just gone from two sets of dumb plays in a row, guys. So you want to know what you should do here? You should put down the Rift Herald. Put down this bad boy, top lane. Why Xerxes is now bot lane makes no sense to me, right? Even if you're not going to do that, just take the plates, right? This positioning here is like, cool, maybe you catch Cobby out as he comes around, right? Maybe he goes this way and you're like, oh, cool, oh, yeah, we caught him, right? And you do have a ward just here, so you can see him coming around, right? Maybe you get a kill. But what's better in terms of gold generation? This single kill and the denying of, say, 2 minion waves, 3 minion waves of gold top, or putting down the Rift Herald, opening up the top side of the map, and then you can bring your AD carry back down towards bot lane for 243 when the next dragon's up. Come on. How quickly did Xerxes move away from this? So he actually just runs down. He literally could have just stood here, placed Rift Herald, but instead he's like, nah, I need my red buff. He wants to keep farming up, which is understandable. He has fallen a little bit behind, but they see DOS, and then this hook is just... That's just bad. I'm sorry, guys. You've got to hit that hook. You've got to hit that hook right there. Because he doesn't dodge. And you know he's not going to dodge because you know he doesn't know you're there. Right? You cleared out the area. Maybe. So yeah, actually. This is the one thing I'm thinking of. If DOS sees that ward... Right? If DOS sees this ward here, there is an argument not to think that he's gonna keep pathing this way, right? And he's not gonna dodge, because then maybe he knows you're there because he's seen this ward. He knows you're in this vicinity at least, right? You could be pushed up here, but you're definitely somewhere around here. I mean, Xerxes could guard mid, but then they've already seen this, right? So he comes over here for red, I'm pretty sure, instead of like coming here to guard mid. But anyway, this hook is bad. This hook is that's all I wanted to say. I think you could have done a lot better job with that hook. You just mispositions it, right? Right between the outrights. And now, here's a big problem, right? Like, this guy's your most fed player, right? This guy and this guy, right? These are the guys that you want gold. You want that G. You want that cash dollar. You want that English pound sign. You want that euro, right? This is the guy. These are the guys that you want money on, right? And you have two of them in the same lane. Who's farming this? What's going on bot lane? Come on, Origin. Why keep Alfari up here when you could keep Xerxes up here with the Rift Herald? Right? It's called Epic Pen. So I think Alfari should have gone bot, right? Xerxes should have either stayed here and placed the Rift Herald, or decided, okay, we're not going to do it. They shouldn't have tried to make this play, and they should have just got the extra plates. Because yes, you're denying these guys, and Alfari's doing a good job of that, but he could be getting so much further ahead of Dandan. Could be here holding this wave, so Dandan has to overstep to get to it. I've just pressed the button I didn't mean to press. I've done something. Cancel that. Okay. Hey, Rakizoro, thanks so much for the sub, man. Hope you're doing well. It's been a long time. So yeah, in the end, they get no plate stop. They get none. Net gold, 0G. Thanks, mate. You could have got this. It's 160 gold to your Ezreal, but instead, you've lost CS bot lane because this is now pushing against you, right? You've lost the Rift Tower chance to place and take this tower, and it's just weak. So we went from Misfits making a misplay by deciding to rotate up their AD carry support to Origin making a misplay by not using the Rift Tower effectively. In my opinion. And again, everything here, this is how I'm looking at the game. And I saw Vedi was watching earlier. He's going to tell me off. He's going to be like, Medic, you got it all wrong. And I'm like, cool, I accept that. But it's just, there's these opportunities. Yeah, and now, because Alfari hasn't been in lane to help wave management, he's now stuck in a position where he hasn't got a ward here, he hasn't got a ward here, he hasn't got a ward here, right? So he's got no protection, and that ends up with you looking like this. It's dead ban, right? Because all it takes is Razork to come down and pressure him. And actually, if Dandan's smart, he can actually just try and hold the wave where it is. It's something we like to call Frozone the wave. See? This minion die. It's actually a really good freeze. Not really good. Moderate freeze. It's going to push out eventually. But see, Razork, perfect gank opportunity for him there. But the reason he can't do it is, you see the bot lane is coming back, right? They came back without having got a plate. This rotation could have happened either quicker, with Alfari coming down to try and get more plates here, or they could have done it and tried to place the Rift Tower down here, or they could have got Rift Tower up here, taking this turret, and then not caring that much about this dragon. It's only second dragon in the game. It doesn't actually matter. Corby goes back, gets his mana moon upgraded. Okay, wait. Let's have a look at this. Okay? So, here we are. Corby comes up here at 75 CS, right? When he bases, we'll say he's on 90. So that's about a 300 gold difference. Is that about right? Yeah, about a 300 gold difference between when he was down here and when he was up here, and he finishes an item. You know what gets you 300 golds, guys? 2 flipping tower plates bot lane. Why didn't you just play for this, Misfits? You could have just gone bot lane. Given up this, you were going to lose it anyway. The only reason you don't lose top tower is because Origin misplayed. Guys! Is this what being an analyst feels like? Seeing things probably being wrong and then shouting about them? I feel like that's right. So where's Rift Herald? Hasn't been used yet. Hasn't been used yet. What's the... So they're putting Ezreal mid. They know Alfari wins the 1v1. Echo's now splitting, so it's 1-3-1 for Origin has been enacted. It's kind of like 1-2-2 right now because they want to shadow here because they don't have vision control, but that's fine. So, hey, Dano49, thanks for the sub. You got back in the diamond? Nice. Plus 14 is grand.
So,
Welcome
I
back
did
to the
get
squad live.
diamond back in the end.
So you got
But
ward
now
here,
I
you got
get
ward here.
14,
This is
24.
controlled, this is controlled. Well, so this is warded and this is warded. Only one ward available on either support, which is sad face, right? You want more than this. They have just reset. So has DOS just invested this one here and then one other one somewhere? And have a look. Where's DOS put his wards? He's only got one here. Where are you warding, DOS? Alright, so he puts one in this bush here. DOS? Alright, okay, yeah, so yeah. He's put one here. He's put one here. Oh. One here, which I'm not 100% sold on. I think if you're going to do that, you want control here, but he's worried that the support AD carry is going to come across and clear it out. Both teams playing for mid prio. You can see Razork coming down, but Razork doesn't have a control ward because he's been put behind. And now they don't even have sweeper up, right? So they can't gain control of this area, and they're just going to get flanked. This is a good fight for Misfits. Where did it go wrong for Origin? Let's have a look. Alright, so... Ooh, this is way too far. Alright, so... Dan's coming over here. Lee Sin's coming over here. These guys are separated. So you kind of got a little bit of a split here. Because you've got this area, right? Which is Origin control. And then you have this area, which is currently under Misfits control. And then you have this area over here, which is Origin control again. And then you have Nuke Duck. He has got TP, so he can get back into the lane. But it makes it a little tricky. So let's see. So they start up. It's pretty safe to start this up here. Dan is much closer to the fight, so he'll be able to get there quicker. There's the first TP. Oh, that is... That is the unluckiest Ezreal ult I have ever seen. Did you see how unlucky that was? You see how unlucky that was? That's 300 damage missing on Kobe and DOS. They even pillar to try and get them in the way. That is actual big sad. It's okay. They missed that. Xerxes now like, okay, I'm going for the dragon. Razork is low, but he's just going to get kicked away, which is what you always do, right? And now the problem is, Xerxes, Alfari are miles away from the rest of that team. So this is the major issue, right? Because all that these guys have to do is turn. And it's a typical pincer movement play, where if I have one teammate here, 4 opponents here, and my 4 teammates are over here, well, we'll do it like how it is here, right? This is how it is at the moment, right? All you want to do as pink team is create a zone of separation here, right? And then you go this way. And that's what they do with this kick. So Razork says, nah, you guys aren't coming this way. And then immediately go this way. This TP I don't think was too late. I think just Upset and Destiny got a little aggro on pushing. So I think if you watch it again, TP comes in now. So 57, right? So that's going to be there by 59, right? Is that right? Is it 2 seconds for TP cooldown? Is it 3 seconds? 2.5 seconds? He should be there, right? So yeah, I think this... Okay, this is the issue. Destiny is like, mate, I'm going to hook. Right? And you know what we talked about earlier? You can't hook as Thresh into Nautilus. He actually even hooks second anyway. But DOS, like, you know this is control warded Destiny. You're pushing up this way. You're like, oh, Kobe's running away. How far we can flank him? No, it'd be great. But then all of these guys just go, oh, you know what Kobe has? Even if he gets flanked, even if he gets caught out by Alfari, all he has to do is jump over here. So this is well played by Misfits, but I think just the aggression over here was unnecessary. And because Razork kicks Alfari away, Xerxes never able to get the smite. I don't think you needed a fight for this dragon either. I think you could have just left Nuke Duck in the top lane and let him push in. Now Destiny falls early on. Paolo of Convergence comes down. They are unlucky the damage didn't stick on DOS and Cobby. This is a little greedy, but I assume DOS is... Yeah, I guess. No, because, yeah, you just turn it around. DOS could just queue Febby with a good Shurima shuffle. Emperor's Divide here just to separate the team. And Dan's actually in a really good flank position after all of this. He probably didn't... So Dan is trying to distract Alfari because they know Alfari is the key threat, right? They know Alfari is the one that they want to try and keep away because he's the most fed. So if Dan can keep Alfari busy over here, they're like, okay, we can kill Nuke Duck upset. Nuke Duck does have ultimate, so it's going to be a little bit trickier to kill him. But they're trying to like see if they can catch up upset. The issue is upset still has flash heal. Dan is able to distract, but Dan loses this 1v1. Remember, we saw that earlier, right? So now they're like, okay, we've separated Nuke Duck and upset. Nuke Duck would have to jump into all four of us to do anything so we can turn back. Xerxes doesn't have any abilities to get away. He's already used his flash. Remember when he tried to get into the pit? And it's a pretty easy secure. So this is a good fight for Misfits. I think Origin misplaced slightly. They're too aggro on the top side and they don't respect DOS's hooks, but overall good fight. The drawing program is called Epic Pen. I used the free version. This is the second time I've ever used it. What a beast. Hey, Ava Sanctus, thank you so much for the sub. So I actually think in this team fight we see that the issue that we discussed earlier with Origin's team comp, which is their 1-4 and their 1-3-1 is pretty good, but their actual team fight engage is pretty diabolically bad, which is also why I'm a little surprised they went for this fight, right? Because how are you going to engage? Well, Thresh can hook, you can parallel Convergence in, or you can flash Righteous Fury, right? I think Ruthless Predator? Ruthless Predator. And so Misfits with Shurima's... with Emperor's Divide, with Kick, and even with things like Depth Charge from Nautilus are so good at disengaging you that you're never actually going to be able to stick on the Misfits players, right? Oh. So I think Origin would have just been better continuing to split. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to look to see what they would have got out of continued splitting there. This is after... So where's game state? Here we are. So this is where we are just before, right? If they say, just keep this pressure here, control this zone, and control this zone, what do they lose? Well, there's no wave in mid. They got a stacking wave up here, so you can get a couple of plates onto Nuke Duck. This, you just keep Dan back, right? But you're going to have to back away eventually. So this wave is already pushed in. So maybe they could have kept that wave there instead, given up this area, and said, okay, well, we can get push in mid, we can get push in top, we can steal away your Krugs, we can clear out vision over here. And this vision clearing here doesn't really matter that much, because what are you playing for? There's no dragon, there's no Baron or anything up for a while. Is that second Rift Herald? The second Rift Herald is up. In fact, you give up this prio, right? You say, okay, we give up this area, but you know what we're going to do? We're just going to Rift Herald mid. We're going to give a bunch of gold to our Ezreal, who can now get Manamune, right? Because he's behind. We're going to give a bunch of gold to our Echo, right? Who can now, I don't know, start building towards whatever anyone wants next, Lich Bane or whatever. And we can actually power up our weaker members who are comparatively weaker, because we don't need to power up the Renekton, who's got a Karl and is already ahead. So I think you give up this dragon, you nix it, you say no. What's the point? Misfits get an Infernal Dragon, cool. Hey ho, you've got 2 dragons, right? We have now got closer to our power spikes. Our Ezreal is finished another item and can get towards Trinity Force if he wants it. And then we can look to fight later on. I think it would have just been good to say no to this dragon. Just exit off. Anyone out there think differently? I don't think my chat is used to me actually trying to be analytical. And Xerxes dies here, right? So remember, Xerxes has Rift Herald. And he dies. And I don't know if he gets to use it before the next So look, no, 16 seconds. This is less than 16 seconds. That is a wasted Rift Herald that they could have used top lane for plates. Ah! They waste the Rift Herald. Oh, that's, fighting a dragon they didn't need to fight for, they waste it. Look, he hasn't placed Rift Herald. Ah! I mean, the gold value of Infernal Drake, like, it's too complicated for me, but the individual Drakes don't tend to be gold efficient, right? What you have to think about with objectives, right? And I was talking to LS about this because he was trying to explain to me freezing and like the mechanics that you can do it. Trying to explain like when you freeze and how you freeze. Like an objective is only worth. Objective has to be worth more than what you're getting from not taking the objective, right? You get. So for example, that's why I was very specific on. Oh, you could use earlier on. You could have used Herald to accelerate the Ezreal, right? Because what does that mean? Well, an accelerated Ezreal means Mana Moon comes earlier, right? So you get that stacking. 300 gold from McCall. You get Triforce earlier, right? And you become a 2-threat team instead of a 1-threat team, right? Because at the moment, the only threat they have is Alfari in a side lane, right? And Nukeduck's getting strong as well, right? So here, well, what did going for the Infernal Drake cost them, right? Well, it cost them use of their Rift Herald, right? So we'll say they got 2 plates out of the Rift Herald, right? 300 gold, right? And say they use that, we'll say it's quite easy placed just in mid lane, right? Is it 300 extra or less? I don't know what you mean. It's 300 extra gold. When you finish it, you get 300 gold, I believe. They lost push in top because they teleported Nukeduck down, so you have to think about the value of a TP, right? But say he could have got 2 plates, top lane, right? So that's another 300 gold, right? What does that get them towards? Well, Ezreal... and so yeah, say this gold goes to Ezreal, right? He would be 300 gold closer to Triforce, right? 2 plates, 300 gold closer to Lichbane, right? Current gold difference is 19.3 to 19.8, right? So then you are now 19.9 to 19.8, right? Alongside that, what have you given up? Well, we gave up 2 kills, right? Plus assists, so we'll say 450 gold times 2, right? So we've given up 900 gold, and we could have made a net gain of 600 and been ahead. So this is why I think going for especially second dragon, is not necessarily a good play, right? In this situation, because you hadn't spiked, right? You didn't have Mana Moon complete. Yes, you had Proto Belt, but you were having to TP to get him into the fight. You were split. You had 2 against 5 against 3, right? So they can just turn. You have the worst engage tool because the Nautilus Hook is quicker than Thresh Hook, right? You're having to flash to get into the pit, so you're burning summoners. I just think it's I think it was a misplay from Origin. And I believe they end up winning this game, right? Or did Misfits win? I'm not sure. I haven't talked about scaling and stuff like that at all. It doesn't interest me as much because I don't know compositions as well. I mean, this is a really good 1-3-1/1-4 scaling comp. This comp is like pretty powerful in team fights. So scaling is kind of more like this jungler does more later on. So I give them a 4.5 players late game, where this team is more of a 4-player team. Misfits win. Okay. So Alfari is still providing threat in the side lane. And that's cool. And Xerxes looking for a gank, but it's just mistimed. Right? They haven't set up a wave or anything. Next Rift Herald is up soon, and you can see who's here. Well, it's Doss and Razorg. They're getting control. They know Xerxes on the bottom side of the map. Like, what is... The issue I have with this, right, is like you're trying to gank the guy who's got TP. You're trying to keep Alfari ahead. But firstly, Alfari's going for kill, so he's trying to farm up. Secondly, They have TP. They can just TP into the fight. And thirdly, like, killing an Aatrox is not easy. It's not easy at all. Aatrox outscales Renekton, yeah. One thing I am seeing a lot of is this. Ninja Tabi's early and into melee AD carries, especially into AD top lane, especially into Wukong. It's super powerful. Like, mitigates all of its damage. So now Origin is saying, okay, we've got a minute on the dragon. Let's set up towards the bottom side. But what I really care about is how Misfits use this Rift Herald. Because we've seen Origin, like, totally fumbled. Totally fumbled. GP was banned. GP was banned, man. By Origin, but still banned. Also, yeah, calm down. You have to remember, like, draft is a team decision, so. So what comes out of this, right? This is complete. This is complete. This must almost be complete. Actually, in a really good spot. They're trying to gain control over here. The Scuttle Crab being taken is not great, but it's actually going to time out in about 30 seconds. So what Misfits say is, okay, we'll gain lane pressure mid by using the Rift Herald, right? But Forbidden can come across. Top lane's being pushed in. No one's answering that. Origin are sacking a wave of farm to try and keep their threats on the bottom side of the map. Now, I can't see where Renekton is. Oh, there he is. He's there. Right? So Origin are sacking a wave of farm to try and pressure this. But Misfits say, okay, well, you're sacking top lane already. Are you going to sack mid lane? You're going to sack 2 waves of farm to try and do something with us? And the answer is yes, they are. So Nukeduck will have to... This is the dragon you want to be fighting more than second dragon, right? Because this one actually puts them on soul point. Dan is looking for a flank. Just stop using that joke. And what I do like from Alphari is that he's positioned in a really good way to stop that from happening effectively. So we'll see. Forbidden gonna walk in here. Rift Herald charges in. Nukeduck comes across. And okay, so this is actually really nicely done by Alphari. However, he must have been spotted on this ward. This ward must spot Alphari. Because that's been there for a while, right? You can tell by the timer. So I'm wondering, like, Dan must know he's walking into this and expect this reaction. And because, of course, remember this, killer instinct exists, right? So you can jump across quite easily and get towards that fight. Let's see how it plays out. Dan pops World Ender. He gets out, but it's actually, like, super chunked. There are tons of pings. Tons of pings. So I'm just looking at the Renekton. Yeah, they see him. They know exactly where he is. Like, they see him walk up. They see him go around the corner. They don't see him come back. And Dan just face checks into him. So, they like, Dan has either been farming under tower and then just missed it, or has deliberately gone for this fight. And it just doesn't work. That's not a good fight from Dan. He's chunked out. And now Misfits should just give up this dragon. They could look to pressure it, but Alphari's only half. Dan has TP. Okay, so the only reason that you usually, if you lose a man, right, you give up the Drake. You just back away, right? Alphari's a god tier top laner. He's such a beast. Usually you just give up this Drake, right? You do have TP, so where can you TP to? You can TP here or here. Nukeduck, though, will threaten you if you TP here because he's got power conversions. You don't have any vision in the pit, so you can't see this. Now, the question is, do you think you can just go back and scale, right? Because if you think you could go back and scale, then it's fine to give up this dragon. However, if you feel you need to keep the tempo of the game fast, then you want to be playing for this dragon so you can get to that 4 dragon win condition ever so much sooner. And Misfits are like, maybe. Okay, so they use this ward for the flank TP, and they're thinking, Alphari's locked in the pit. He can't influence the game right now. We've got this control ward in here. It's going to get cleared out by these guys, but Upset isn't as strong as it could be, and we can isolate Nukeduck. What do we see once again, guys? It's a 5v1, and these guys are split off. Now, what I would like... what you do by doing this sort of situation is you say, hey, guys, we know you want this. We know you want this dragon, right? So how many resources are you going to invest to try and flank us, right? Especially with Cobby here in a pretty safe position because of the TP. Say, how many resources are you going to invest? Are you going to send both of these guys up here? Because if you do, Razork can jump in. You're going to send Xerxes up here? Because if you do, Razork will steal it. You're going to send Alphari over here? Because if you do, we turn over here, right? So it's putting that little bit of doubt into the opponent's mind. So yeah. They don't send anyone. But what they do is get Nukeduck to come back off the back of it, right? Razork gets hooked. Again, not sold on the contest, I'll be honest, right? I like the play here is okay, but why contest, right? Especially if you're burning a teleport to get in, you can't even catch Nuke Duck out. You're now just like trying to get in this pit, and it's not gonna work, right? I think you just give it up. If you lose early control, you should just give it up. I'm using the free epic pen because now you give up 2 kills, and we can do our calculations again. What have you lost, right? What have you lost? Alright, so this is the point of the fight where they decide not to contest. They lose push in top, they lose push in mid, they use the Rift Herald, so they get this anyway, right? This, they can never really safely push because they don't have vision in this quadrant, which would make it really hard. But you could get top tower. You could steal away the Grump. You could get pressure mid without having to use Rift Herald, right? There are things here. That's cool. That you could get, I think. Now, at this point, I don't blame them for threatening. It's this move here that I don't understand. Because Dandan knows he's there. Like, I just think that's the bad play. If Dandan isn't chunked out, this is a much easier fight for them to take. But because Dandan steps in here, because he gets caught out, it just becomes basically impossible for them to easily get a position on it. Because right now, like, they have to fight so many different fronts, right? They don't have Dandan who can step in here by himself. You're looking to DOS to do it, right? And DOS just isn't tanky enough. They can't easily position on Nuke Duck because he can always just jump back out. And Dandan, only ward he can TP to is over here or over here. If you TP here, you're going to get jumped on. If you TP here, you're not close enough to this fight to gain control. And because you haven't got wards in this bush and this bush, it becomes so difficult to fight around it, right? So I think especially with Ocean Dragon, when you lose early vision control, it becomes really, really hard for you to actually regain it. Especially when you're like trying to claw back into the Dragon Pit. Misfits obviously want to keep the tempo up and want to keep going for these dragons. And like Razork stealing is a very high possibility, right? He queues in, gets immediately stunned. Really nicely done from Alfari. Like, got to give him credit there. I know I would have misclicked, right? But watch this, right? Look at that, he stuns him. How does he actually click that accurately? That's so good. Immediately stunned. He then jumps out to DOS. The hook is like, we'll give Destiny the benefit of the doubt. Oh yeah, if you do more than 150 characters or something, it does it. Give Destiny the benefit of the doubt that he was aiming for Razork, but he could have been aiming for anyone, right? If he hooks anyone, then it's like 280 characters is the length of the thing, right? Like, I feel that that's lengthy enough. Target champs only. That's true. I just never use it. So what have we got? 20 CS difference here. He's going Zonya's second. That does mean you have minimal damage on the Echo, but you have a big Alfari and you've got almost Trinity Force here. So again, because this tower and this tower haven't been broken, we're seeing a lot more of these like small forays, right? Teams are just like testing it out, but they don't have the positioning to actually really go for it. Febby, what? I mean, he has to burn ult. Does he even? So yeah, this matchup is going the way we expect it to. Gonna have another look at that Febby play though. Sorry, Winnie the God, man. Like, I did it because we were doing casting stuff and people kept spamming, so I just got rid of it. So Febby, like, here's the thing. You know these guys are coming down from top. You're positioning here, which is okay. And this is just a bit greedy. It's just a bit greedy. Like, in the end, doesn't cost him much, right? He burns his ult, he walks away. And does he flash? I don't think he flashes. Maybe he flashes here? Yeah, okay, so he does flash. Like, that's just a bit greedy. He was trusting too much in himself to EOA. And I don't really know what the damage got him, right? I mean, I can take off the limiter at some point. But that does, like, that loses you prio up here as well. Because, like, if you look at it, what happens, right? Febby gets forced back. Kai'Sa has to come across. You can't have someone just farming the side lanes, so you now need 3 people to protect this because you think they can push it, but Alfari could freeze. Guys, I'm going to use the magic word. Alfari, next time this gets pushed out, could freeze it. Dan could freeze. Why is no one freezing? Guys, okay, here we go. LS, send me your energy. Sir Pope LS, please guide my words and my wisdom. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for the big plays? Think about what's on the map, right? Think about what is available. Think about what can be taken, right? I can't see gold. Show me this. Won't show it to me. All right, so 32 to 31k. Okay, we've seen it now. We know what it is. About 1,000 gold difference between the two teams, okay? So here's what I'm thinking. You know, if you're a Azir, right? What is there to play for? Well, there's 2 minutes on a dragon. It's an ocean. Third dragon for your team. Cool. 2 minutes is a long time. You know how much gold you can make in a minute of freezing? 400! Not counting XP. 400 gold. So yeah, our next objective is in 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Right? I'm thinking, hey, Dan. Hey, what's just happened? Well, my top tower's fallen. Ooh, Dan, what do I have to play for on the map? Well, there's a dragon in 2 minutes time, guys. There's a blue buff here. Am I going to go for that? No. There is a Baron. Is the enemy team going to do Baron? No. Maybe they could risk it, but it's a 25-second Baron. Maybe 20-second Baron, right? That's a long time for everyone to be missing from the map, right? It's a long time. So what could I do? Well, do I care about vision control here? I'll show you. So, do I care about any vision control here? No. I don't give a shit. I don't care about anything here. Do I care about any vision control here? No, don't give a shit about that either. This is as misfits. Right? I do not care if the enemy has total control of their own jungle. Do I care about this topside river right now? No. Like, what's going to happen? They're gonna steal Baron right now? No. I mean, Misfits they've been burnt by Baron a little bit, but like, I don't think Misfits would care, right? Right? I don't need to be able to get from this point to this point quickly, or to this point quickly right now, right? I'm not 2 minutes. I'm probably gonna have my TP back up anyway. I'm not 100% sure on that timing, but anyway, right? So if we play for this vision, right? My team is golden. Maybe we put a Farsight automation in the back of the pit, right? What can I do? Well, I could freeze the lane here, and I could freeze the lane here, put a ward in here. I mean, I want this freeze to be further back near the turret, right? Because then you could just ward here, and you're safe, and then put a ward here, right? And what do we get? Well, we get 400 gold per minute. Times 2. We get 1.6k gold swing. 1.6k. Also, probably get a level and a half. Imagine coming into the next fight, even on levels, even in gold, or ahead on gold. Imagine how strong that would be. Imagine how strong it would be. And can we hold mid safely? Yeah, because we've got Nautilus Kai'Sa. So they can just push out the wave. Are they going to get flanked? Probably not. How do they flank here? I mean, Trundle could run through. Maybe Thresh could land a hook from here or here, but you ward those. I think this is a great spot to freeze. I might be entirely wrong, right? I might be entirely wrong. Someone's messaged me on Slack, so I'm just going to check. But I think this is a godly time to freeze. Why does Slack have a notification, but I don't have a notification? So anyway, I think they can 3v5 mid, right? Because I think even if you have to give up this tower, I think you're still fine. But I think you can hold here. I think you have the wave clear. I also don't think Origin would 3v5. I think they try and just play around, like stealing away some of these jungle camps. I don't care about these jungle camps. Don't give a shit. Renekton can engage, but he'd have to flash W onto me. And I'm Kai'Sa. I just Killer Instinct. Get my shield. Get out of there. There's never time when freezing will not put your other players at risk. Right? But the thing, so the idea that Origin get to dictate the pace of the game, I don't give a shit if Origin dictate the pace of the game when there's no objective for me to fight over. What are they dictating? There's nothing. It's like, okay, cool, Origin, you can dictate the pace at which you ward, or at which you clear a jungle camp. There's nothing else for you to fight for. You got Grump control. Good job, man. The only real threat I see is this, but Febiven has TP, right? I also think maybe you don't freeze both. Like, if you are risk averse to getting hard dive mid because Renekton could jump on you, right? Then you say, okay, we only freeze one lane. We only freeze Azir's lane, or we only freeze Aatrox's lane. And you just don't freeze both, right? And then you have a 4v5 with disengage tools. Right? And maybe you give up some dragon control, but like, I can freeze for a minute, still make 800 gold, and then come across and clear out the dragon control. Hey, Son of Oak, thanks for the host, man. So I think like there is again, right? I would stress this. I am learning these things, right? I'm very much still very new to analyzing and being an analyst and all that jazz, right? I'm learning these mechanics, but I think there is a very real possibility that you could freeze her. And I agree that you don't want to split the farm, right? So freezing both makes it stronger because you can just have the Kai'Sa solo farm. But I don't have as much knowledge on double freezing waves or freezing 2 waves at once. But they don't. They shove them out because obviously they do. And look for this and look for this. But like this shove could have come 2 minutes later and still been fine. I don't care about jungle control. If they can make 400 gold a minute out of my jungle, that's fine. At the moment there's 2 camps up, 3 camps up. They're not going to make 400 gold a minute off those camps. Right? And if I'm freezing here, right? They have to come, say, to Krugs, try and steal away my Krugs. And my jungler comes across. And yeah, Razork doesn't have to be in jungle. He can just stay mid. What's Lee Sin gonna do with more farm? He gets me a Black Cleaver. Cool. He buffs Aatrox and Kai'Sa a little bit. Like, there are reasons that teams don't freeze, but I think teams are freeze averse as well. However, maybe the reasoning here is they want control of this area, right? And they're going for dragon, which makes sense. This is a fucking odd play. Okay, we're gonna rewatch this. So, what's the play here? Well, Misfits say we have control ward here, we have control ward here, we have control ward here. We can push in for this red buff, right? Ezreal has to catch this wave because we've already taken down mid tower with that Rift Herald. Remember, that was good stuff for them. But they don't know where Thresh and Trundle are. They know Echo's under tower. So, they push in. That's 2. What does this pushing get them? Well, they are spotted on this ward here, which they don't think they're spotted on. So what a lot of people don't realize is the cutoff is like here. If you place here, you can see like here, but it's actually, if someone hugs this wall and you don't have the enhanced bush from Ocean, you don't see them. All right, so this spot is actually out of vision. So they think they're clear, and that's why they go for this play, because they're like, hey, we can go in without being spotted. They're not going to collapse, right? So they then push further, like, okay, we'll pull it round. Don't account for this ward. Don't account for these guys. Razork and Febi are pushing in bot. They're like, cool, we've got Pro. We've got 4 people down here. They have Ezreal clearing mid, so at most they can have 3, right? But Febi isn't able to get across here in time. And so what we're going to see happen, probably, is Misfits just don't get this and burn a lot for it. So Destiny with a good hook. Nuke Duck jumps across the wall. Credit to DOS as well. That's a good hook. Kobe can now jump to the other side of this, right? Killer Instinct. Really OP. Really OP. I mean, the thing is, right? Maybe you're trying to get Renekton TP, but why the fuck would Renekton TP for a red buff? Like, what's the fucking point? If you're going to make a play like this, do it for the dragon. The only reason you TP here is if you're like, hey, maybe we can fight. And get these kills. Right? But it just feels like Misfits greeded. It was a good killer instinct by Kobe. But now, what's happened? Well, we've got a minute on the clock, and these guys all have to back to regen, right? Kobe's going to use these to regen, and he can use this and this, right? Because we're on ocean maps, so that's okay. But any other map, Kobe would be hard screwed, would have to back, and you still ceding total control, right? You can see here what happens. Well, Origin get total control. They get mid control, which is what we've been trying to deny them from. They have a nice wave in top lane. Bot lane is pushing this way, I think. And you have to burn TP. So out of Misfits making the play, even if they were looking for Renekton TP, right? Misfits end up burning the TP because they want to get Febby to have Ludens. So we're pretty even in terms of gold. Misfits scale alright because they have Kai'Sa and Azir. You're on 2 items. You're gonna play for this. You're gonna play for this. This is the big play, right? But Misfits kind of screwed themselves a little bit with the base because Kobe still hasn't been able to recall. So now they're actually like not in the best of shapes in terms of gold. Alfari once again gets free push in top. Dan doesn't have TP. Febby just had to use TP because they couldn't cede all control. And so now it's actually a really bad position for Origin. Sorry, for Misfits, because the longer this fight goes on, the worse it is. DOS misses the hook because Nuke dodges it out. Razork is now the one chunk. That's your jungler low. So now you should just say, okay, you guys, you have control of this, right? You can take it if you want to. Razork's trying to do the sneaky beaky like he's trying to be fucking Ocean's 11, but here comes Alfari from the top side, and this fight should be all Origin. Razork has no health. He's got kick, and that could be what saves him. But right now, this is like, this tower is doing so much work for Misfits because now Origin, they should have been able to win this fight. They have to catch this wave to stop Misfits. Oh, what is that drawing? To stop Misfits from getting the push this direction. And Misfits do a smart move because they're like, okay, we can't regain river control, but we can threaten Dragon, right? They don't actually know that it's Trundle on the Drake. They don't actually know that, but now they can guess, right? That it's Trundle on the Drake. And I think Misfits win this, if I remember correctly. So what should happen? Well, Nuke jumps in with parallel convergence. That's expected. I'm not sold on this, right? Why am I not sold on this? Well, let's think it through. At what point do you know that they're doing the Baron? And the question, okay, so by now is when they start moving, right? They haven't started, right? Right, so I like the Misfits Nashor call. You see them on the Scuttle Crab, right? So you know this is happening. You have nice control in here. This is good call for Misfits, right? Yeah, Origin have crab control. That's what I'm saying. They know, right? So here's the problem. Trundle has just started Dragon, right? The rest of the team is working their way up. Trundle can use Frozen Domain to catch up, in my opinion, right? I mean, it's possible you expect them to peel off, right? But do you take that gamble, is the question, right? Because my thought is, if you come up here with 5... Oh, that's not how you write a 5. With 5 players from Origin, right? If OG bring 5 to the battle, are you more likely to win, right? And if you're not willing to invest 5 players in the battle, why are you investing any players in the battle? Are you just hoping for some sort of mechanical outplay? Right? You can say, oh, we can force them off with 4 and then we still get the dragon, right? But if you force them off with 4, aren't you likely just to be able to walk back down to the dragon and take it anyway? Right? And that's the other argument, right? Couldn't you just put Nuke or Alfari specifically down here doing it? And the idea behind that is no, because you want Alfari, you want the Croc to lead the charge, right? Because he's probably your strongest player. But I just don't think you need to go for this. It's not a soul dragon, right? Nor is it denying a soul. So why not just invest 5 players and say, hey, we can delay the dragon? I mean, Alfari does have TP, but like you don't have the ward coverage, and you have to step into darkness to get there. So if you get caught out here, and your only player with well, you've got 2 players with wards, but oh no, wait, sorry, wrong side. You don't have any. You have 2 control wards, and Trundle isn't there, right? So you don't actually have a position to put down a ward. So if Alfari goes, you'd have to get Xerxes up here quickly enough to get a ward in, and if Xerxes dies too quickly, then you can't get a ward in. But I think the argument is, why not just send all 5 players from Origin? Or you're trying to force Misfits off, you're trying to call their bluff, which I kind of understand. But why not call their bluff with all 5 and then just back across towards the dragon? Because look at this, like, we can't see the dragon's health bar. That sucks. Okay, because I'd like to know how close this is to death. But yeah, I just think this is Origin over-indexing on a dragon, which didn't actually matter, right? I mean, but the idea that saying you lose a 5v5, so you shouldn't commit all 5 players is like, well, are we more likely to lose a 5v5 or a 4v5? Obviously, you're more likely to lose a 4v5, right? And yeah, Baron is doing damage as well. So if Origin don't think they can commit to this, then we'll see if they... we haven't seen the fight yet, so we'll see what happens. But Nuke Duck are like hard commits, right? And imagine if like Trundle's still doing this. There's no way he ever gets to this fight if he stays on the dragon, right? Imagine if he just ran up here, was like, hey, let's go, guys, right? Like, he's here, he can get in here, he can actually put a pillar down here to block off Misfits from getting out of the pit. You have extra CC, you've got Subjugate for Dan, we'll say, or for Razork, right? You have all of this extra power in the fight, and Xerxes still doing the dragon. So I actually think one of the biggest parts of this play was that tower they put in mid, right? I think that's such a smart move from Misfits. It's some really like strong macro play from them. Because the tower only just dies, and it just means that Origin were never able to get mid prior, which really allowed Misfits to put position like this and path up here. But like, who even gets the dragon? Did Razork get it? Yeah, okay. It was on like 650. And Razork leveled up from it. So technically, Xerxes would have had the advantage. Now you've invested everything here. Right? And 4 players are going to get out, maybe 3. Maybe Destiny jumps over the wall with a flash and gets the hook. But assuming Misfits get 3 or 4 players out of this, is actually fucking great for them. So Febby overinvests here. Okay, so now the question becomes, right? This is the question you have to answer. Is Baron on Aatrox, Lee, and Kai'Sa greater than Ocean 2? You want to know the answer to this? Of course it fucking is. So much better. Assuming Misfits use this properly, that Baron is so good. So good. And it was a really good call from them. The issue is still Alfari, but you know how you mitigate Alfari, guys. You know how you mitigate someone who's been hard winning in a side lane. You put him up against the Baron buff. You put him up against the Baron buff. Alfari now no longer has the kill threat that he had in a side lane because all Aatrox has to do is hold the wave with Baron. And that's 2.5, that's 3 minutes, right? 3 minutes is Baron buff, 2.5 minutes. That you can't do anything against now because he's too strong. And you got, like, not even counting gold, you got 1,500 gold on one side compared to, say, 450 for a kill, so 900 on the other side. Already that Baron buff has just given you an advantage in terms of gold. Oh, I've been talking a lot. So what do we see happen next? Well, Alfari's in bot lane. Kai'Sa's coming up towards top. They're going to use it to break this tower. Ezreal now has Trinity, so he's going to get Death Dance, which means he is going to be really strong. Nuke doesn't have a huge amount of damage yet. This guy's only getting stronger. What are you going next? Void? Void is weak against their team. They don't have enough magic resist. So, what Origin do is smart, right? They say, okay, we're going to try and collapse on the push, right? Nuke Duck jumps in. Dan's in a good position to catch the hook. And actually, Nuke Duck doesn't have the damage to kill Kobbe, because Kobbe has the killer instinct. So now Misfits say, okay, well, we know Alfari is on the other side of the map. We can just force you off this. And they can keep pushing. Right, Alfari is a one-man army. Yeah, he's very strong, but all they have to do is send back Dan, who has TP to catch the wave with the Baron buff that he still has, and Misfits just push in. So Alfari shouldn't get this tower, and Misfits should be able to chip out this one, but they don't manage it. I wonder if Baron is just falling off. Razork jumps in, misses the kick, but they still should be able to kill Xerxes, even through the subjugate. Nope, he survives. Oh yeah, I remember this play now. Watch upset. Trinity, because he doesn't really need to disengage anyone. Like, if he gets hooked, he's dead. Watch this from Upset, guys. Watch this. So, Upset's doing a really good job, right? Basically frontlining, getting some Qs off, doing some damage. Really nice from him, right? DOS goes in. It's like, oh, cool, Upset, your time to shine. Mystic Shot hits Kobe. What a beast, right? Auto attacks DOS. What a beast, right? And then this is the moment. This is the moment that you cry inside. Because you hit it. You hit everything. Kobe stands still. And you miss the Q. And you're like, I cry. I cry. Could have autoed, could have queued. Kobe gets out. Alfari TP's in, Upset dies. This is a really messy fight from both teams, in my opinion. I feel like Misfits over-invested a little bit, but Alfari also came in super late with the TP. And now, why was he late with the TP? He was just late. He's standing there for a long time, and he just late TPs. Maybe Origin just weren't communicating the call properly, but Upset dies before he even gets in. He runs forward, and the Kaiser's like, okay, I'm just going to E out. And then Misfits win the kill on Alfari as well, because they've already forced everyone off. And Baron buff is still there, just about to expire, but they get the tower with a 3,000 gold lead. Misfits look super powerful. And yeah, now the question is, can you actually push into this? Because Xerxes alive, Nukeduck's alive, and Destiny's alive, but Nukeduck still doesn't have a huge amount of damage. He's going to try and get in. But it's just easy enough for them to escape. And I like this coordination of waves from Misfits. Ornn was open, but I can understand not wanting to put Ornn into Aatrox because they were looking for the lane win. I expected to see Xerxes top a lot more than we did. They use another TP. I mean, killing Razork here is all well and good. Yeah, I wonder if he should have just died, right? Because you got a minute timer on this, and now you don't have flash kick for the next fight. Oh, this is the first time I've done an analytical based stream, so what have we learned so far from this game? We've learned that Origin take fights at Dragon they don't need to. Take drag fights. We've learned that Origin seem to miscom around fights. We've learned that Misfits are a little too over-eager to take fights, it's like they get too excited. Overstep, we'll say overstep. What good things have we seen? Well, we've seen Alfari dominating lane. We've seen Xerxes with good map movements, apart from the fucking Rift Herald. Why are you here? So I really like Kobe's Kaiser. Why did this fight happen though? Like, here's the question you've got to ask yourself. Dragon is up in 16 seconds, right? And this is like, hey, we can fight this on. We don't want to give them 3 oceans because there's a lot of healing, right? So Febi's like, okay, I'll just push out bot wave. It's easy. I can do that by myself. But they don't have any vision control. Where's the vision? So yeah, like when you think of vision control, you can't just say, well, this pink ward, this red ward here is fine, because where's the team going to go? Well, they're going to pass through this way, aren't they? Right? And you have no control of that area. So Febivin's like, oh, I'm just going to keep pushing because Dragon's up and my team's already on it, so I must be safe. It's like, no, of course you're fucking not. Everyone's just going to come down here and try and kill you. Alfari gets the kill on him. Nukeduck. Actually, this is I'm not sure on taking that lantern. I think it separates you too much from the play. If New Duck's in here, maybe you can do something. But they end up getting the fight won, right? And I assume they win the game off this. But it's just a little bit like, are you baiting? Are you trying to bait? I mean, Alfari is a very good top laner. Like, just saying because he doesn't play Ornn makes him bad. It's like, maybe the team doesn't want him to play Ornn. Alfari is probably the best top laner in our league off week 1, right? And part of that is like G2 didn't perform week 1, but he's also like, he was mid-split MVP. Yeah, so you lose this fight. Yeah, this game's now. It's pretty done. I'm just going to lose the game. What do we learn about the 2v2 bot? Well, these guys got pushed somehow. Okay, why you do this? Kobe is a very good Kai'Sa player. So you can't get pushed bot 2v2 until you get Q. And that's like, you need to spam. Dos actually had a pretty good performance as well. Nautilus is a really safe pick. Destiny is greedy with his hooks. Yeah, so that's that game. Definitely taught me some stuff. I think it's interesting to see a team I rate as highly as OG make some really like some big blunders, in my opinion. I might be wrong. Maybe they're not blunders, but like, what is this, by the way? What is going on here? Oh, okay. Like, they're playing around Herald was really poor. So OG messed up at Herald. They messed up taking dragon fights. They had Misfits had a huge opportunity to freeze, which they didn't use. So I think both these teams are really objective focused, and I think they need to be less. They need to be willing to sack, which is something we used to say a lot about Origin, actually. Like, their willingness to sack waves is pretty good, but over, like, there was some big messy points, and it's in hindsight, you know, hindsight is 2020. There's a few things I think they really should have changed, but team fighting, I enjoyed watching Kobe. I think he had a really good performance on the Kai'Sa. Destiny's Thresh left a little bit to be desired. Febby had some really good walls. Apart from that, yeah, Misfits were fighting over no objectives sometimes. Like that red buff fight. What was the red buff fight around? I do think I want to praise Misfits for the Baron play, because that's a brave call that's quite hard to make that probably won them the game. And I want to say Origin should have been quicker to react. Because Origin, they left Trundle down here. It's like second ocean didn't give you anything. Anyway, I'm going to call it there for now, guys.